Good evening, race fans. Welcome to tonight's FEG PC Cup Series doubleheader starting at Road Atlanta. It's going to be a great time tonight as we get ready to take these competitors out at Atlanta, looking for a good time. We're going to get our screen fixed here in just a quick moment. There we go. As right now, we're trying to get these drivers out there for single car qualifying. Well, I say there we go. There we go. Had a little bit of technical difficulties getting some really bad storms here in Georgia. I believe that tropical storm, or maybe it was a hella Hurricane Elsa, is starting to really wick up and rear its ugly head. But right now we're watching single car qualifying here in Atlanta right after they're done racing in Atlanta today. We're going to roll straight into Talladega Superspeedway. Right now, Matt Lee is out on qualifying, seeing if he can best William Lothar's 31.02. Matthew Lee did a 31.22 his last time by. Let's see what Matthew Lee can click off here in the 04 machine. He manages to make it happen there. Clicks off a 30.82 over Kyle Rochelle and the number 12 car's 30.85. So just 0.03 of a second separates our top two drivers so far, and just about 400 separates the top three. Matthew Lee puts it on top in provisional pole. Kyle Rochelle sitting second. Chad Ross third. Let's take a look at Joseph Burgess in the number 19 rig. Looking forward to having everybody here. It's been a fun off week as everybody celebrated July 4th, gets back out there. As all these drivers itching to get back. Everybody, again, was off last Wednesday, so we're coming in with kind of a fresh start for these drivers, doubling up on races to get everybody back out there. We saw the same thing happen in the Truck Series on Monday for the FEG PC Racing League, as drivers took to two courses in a fun-filled evening. We're going to get the points pulled up for you today. We're on round 6 and 7, excuse me, of the points chase for these competitors. Next week, they'll find themselves at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and then we get ready to start our chase, kicking off at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and then Michigan International Speedway will decide for the championship round. Still lots of action left out here as we get ready to end qualifying and take it out there and get ready to rumble as Rory Gamble pushes the number 13 machine up to 4th place, and that very sharp-looking Taco Bell machine. We still have about 4 or 5 drivers that have not made qualifying yet. That's Kendall McCullough Jr., Brandon Arciero, Anthony Reiner, and Jesse Bobo. Not taking it out on track yet. They've got about 40 seconds left in qualifying, so I'm not sure if we're going to be seeing those guys qual or not. We're going to get ready to take to the field here as drivers get ready to grid up. Starting up front, it's going to be Matthew Lee, second, and the front row will be Kyle Rochelle. Chad Ross starting third. Rory Gamble fourth. Stephen Page will be starting fifth. Jose Medina in sixth. James Kaufman starting seventh. William Lothar will be starting eighth. Matthew Curry ninth. Joseph Burgess 10th. Kenneth McCall Jr. will be starting in 11th tonight. Brandon Arciero in 12th. Then you've got Jesse Bobo 13th and Anthony Reiner in 14th to round out our field of drivers here today. 100 laps here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We've been getting reports from iRacing and NASCAR that these guys are going to be doing a repave and a bit of a remodel in the future. Something very unique and interesting is NASCAR actually used the iRacing simulator to make changes for the upcoming real-life changes. So these guys at NASCAR actually using the iRacing sim as a testing ground to see how the racing is going to play out, see how it feels to actually drive around the track after they've made some changes. So a very unique thing that these guys have got going on. We're waiting for Kyle Rochelle, Rory Gamble, Joseph Burgess to take the grid, as well as Anthony Reiner. Getting ready for these drivers to grid up. Still waiting on a couple guys, and again, storms are hitting the southeast very hard right now, so you may see a little bit more internet problems than we're used to seeing out here. There we go. We've got Chad Ross, he's in the game. Rory Gamble unable to start. Anthony Reiner also not able to make the grid. So Rory Gamble able to come back out on track. It looks like he'll be starting from the back. Anthony Reiner still not showing his entering pit lane, so Reiner may have something going on, but your front two row, it's the front two drivers on the front row. It's going to be Matthew Lee, Kyle Rochelle, Chad Ross, and Jose Medina will be on row 2. Then Stephen Page and William Lothar row 3. A lot of very talented drivers up here in the mix. And these next-gen cars getting used to it and going around fast at Atlanta Motor Speedway before we see that real-life remodel being made. Matthew Lee in that Shenandoah Shine sponsored 04 machine, always a very fast contender. But don't count out Kyle Rochelle in the number 12. He's been doing a great job all season long, getting up there and making something happen. Right now, Matthew Lee still in the points lead. Rochelle currently sitting in 13th place, a late entry into the season, but there we go. Matthew Lee takes to the field, and the green flag is out just like that. You see some incidents going on. Not quite sure who that might have been. I believe James Kaufman. As it looks like it's going to be about 13 drivers on track today for this Elite Cup Series. Some of the best in the business. All these drivers chasing a bit of a paycheck, a little bit of glory here at the FEGPC.net sponsored series. FEGPC, they've got custom sim-based desktops for your gaming needs. DCS Flight Sim, iRacing, R-Factor, Project Cars, BeamNG, Microsoft Flight Sim, you name it for sim enthusiasts, and they've got something that can get you taken care of. Check them out at FEGPC.net. Matthew Lee still running strong out front. He's chased by Kyle Rochelle in the white number 12 machine. Behind Rochelle, you've got Chad Ross in the 38, William Lothar 47. As so far so good, we click off lap 3 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And the racing is very, very tight with the top 6 drivers. Fastest lap of the race so far will be by Stephen Page in the number 1. Page finds himself at the tail end of this lead pack. Page currently running 6th place, getting a whole lot of draft help from his friends and competitors out front. Page is trying to chase down Jose Medina in the number 24 car. William Lothar in the number 47 chasing Chad Ross. He's got a little bit of a gap to Jose Medina behind him. But this is a very, very tight pack you see up front, as everyone, for the most part, seems to be happy running single file, burning off some laps. These guys do have a 65% fuel allotment, or capacity, I should say, in these next-gen cars. So historically, we see these guys coming into pit around lap 30 to 40 is when the pit window in the past has been open. We'll see if anything's shaken up tonight. A lot of clean racing, and even back here, Matthew Curry finds himself in a race with Brandon Arciero. Arciero in the 317 car tonight, shows him as the 51, so he does not have the updated paint on that machine. Arciero, this is his second race of the season, finds himself 17th in points. His only race so far was at Pocono, where he did not have the night he wanted. Started 6th place, ended 14th, so a rough night for Arciero, but good to see good to see him back out here running strong and trying to chase some of the fast guys we've come to know and expect out here. Brandon Arciero, again, he finds himself battling. Oh, he does have the 317. My apologies, we're looking at the wrong car. That was Matthew Curry and Joseph Burgess we saw battling. So there's Arciero in the 317. He's currently trying to chase Kenneth McCullough Jr. in the number 5. Now, McCullough Jr. was one of those drivers who did not put down any sort of qualifying lap. Started in 11th place and has worked his way back up front. Speaking of up front, still a gaggle of drivers heading around. Matthew Lee still out front. Kyle Rochelle second. Chad Ross third. William Luther fourth. And then Jose Medina finds himself in the thick of it here as well, just outside of reach of that main pack, but able to hold on to the draft pretty well and not lose too much momentum. Good to see these green flag runs really start to develop. We say it week in and week out. It really allows these drivers to focus on their racecraft and strategy. A little bit different game plan as opposed to when everybody's having cautions and the tire strategies are the same all the way around. Anyway, pushing hard up front. Kyle Rochelle seems to be happy following Matthew Lee for a while. Chad Ross in 38, also not trying to make any dangerous passes or moves, just willing to follow along single file. And these guys know, hey, Matthew Lee should be the first driver that has to pit if we can stay in the draft and keep that clean air on us. A lot of clean laps going on right now. These guys are about half a second off their fastest time in the session, so 10 laps in, tire wear already starting to become a factor. Matthew Lee, he's the guy to beat in the point series right now as rounds are really starting to click off. These guys are knowing, hey, things are shortening up. We need to make something happen. Right now, looks like Jose Medina and Chad Ross are in the best positions to pass points leader Matthew Lee. Jose Medina finds himself second place in points, about 20 points behind race leader Matthew Lee. Chad Ross in the 38 machine, currently running third place. He's about 22 points down from overall points leader Matthew Lee. So good to see that the points championship not out and done yet. As things still have time to get shaken up, especially if Chad Ross can make something happen, stay out there at the front, and then maybe even make a pass on Matthew Lee. But right behind Ross, you've got Jose Medina doing a great job staying with him. He knows his competition, second place, just one car in front of him. Another notable entry that's not here tonight, Matthew Curry. He is fourth in points at the moment, not able to make it today, so this will be the first race that Matthew Curry has missed. Chad Ross has run all 5 races so far. His season best was a 2nd place at Kentucky. He's had mixed spatterings throughout the field, but he does have a few top 5s. His average start positions are roughly 6.6. His average finish is about a 5.6. He's got 3 top 5s this season, so not bad, and keeps his incident points pretty clean. He's got about 2.4 incident points on average. So Chad Ross knows what it takes to run out front and do so consistently. We got some battle going on for the front. Here we go. Kyle Rochelle starting to put the pressure on Matthew Lee. Kyle Rochelle put down a 30.63. Matthew Lee did a 30.61, so a lot of these drivers glued to each other as far as their best lap times of the race. Last time by Rochelle was just a little bit slower than Matthew Lee in the 04. And very interesting to see what the tire strategy is going to be here today at Atlanta. We know this track eats up tires. Looks like the field's settled down just a little bit. Chad Ross gets a bit of a run, peeks to the inside of Kyle Rochelle, decides against it. They're going to drop down into single file once more, coming in at 3 and 4. Matthew Lee's led every single lap. Pretty much the top 3 has not shuffled positions at all. They started 1, 2, 3, and they're currently running 1, 2, 3. As Rochelle looks like he's hinting closer and closer to making something happen against the 04. And they are getting a little bit of a gap on Chad Ross. Ross tries to drive a little bit defensively, holding back Jose Medina. Rochelle, a relative newcomer to the series, has only ran 2 races, Pocono and Kentucky, but Rochelle has gone 2 for 2 on wins when he does make it to the Cup Series. So well done to Rochelle coming out and showing us how to do it. Rochelle is comically down the points standings right now, about 136 behind Matthew Lee. So let's see if Rochelle can disappoint Matthew Lee and really shake things up once more. Matthew Lee won the first 3 races of the season. Kyle Rochelle has won the last 2. So still lots of racing left in the points chase to shake things up, as right now 2 of the fastest cars on track absolutely hanging it out. Matthew Lee out front. Kyle Rochelle in second. Behind that, you've got Chad Ross, Jose Medina. That's your current battle for second in points. Here we go. Rochelle dives to the outside. Matthew Lee goes the inside. They're side by side, coming out of 1 and 2. Rochelle riding the high line, trying to get something happen. Matthew Lee is going to yield and drop in behind Rochelle. And on lap 23, we're going to have a new race leader here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now Matthew Lee's got to contend with Chad Ross and Jose Medina. Now Ross and Medina both see the points leader right in front of them. If they can get around Lee, they can chip away at his 20-odd point gap he has over second and third in the points chase. Try and get back up there, and they may find themselves in championship contention for the FEG PC Cup Series. Always a great time. We're seeing a lot of great racing already and a lot of talented drivers out on field. Still Rochelle out front. Matthew Lee falling behind. Chad Ross is in third. 25 laps down so far, a quarter of the way through the race. I'm really looking forward to seeing what pit strategy we're going to see out here today. Little bit of bumping and grinding back here, trying to make some positions happen in the top 5. But just a little update, it's Rochelle out front, Lee second, Chad Ross third, Jose Medina fourth, Stephen Page in fifth. Still very great racing. The fact that these guys have kept it clean so long is a testament to how good they actually are. Check out Stephen Page in the number 1 machine. Page currently running 5th place, a little bit behind that lead gap, trying to get the draft working in his favor to get back up front. As the top 4 are staying very, very close together. Looks like Page is almost having a bit of a wiggle out of the number 1. Not quite sure what's happening there. Like the front end's bouncing going through 3 and 4. Still Grayson up front, though. They're going to try and hint at going side by side once more. Rochelle and Lee running very different lines there. Lee gets a little bit of a run. I don't think he's going to have anything to do with it here, but he does get right on the rear bumper of Rochelle. Lee has been one of the dominant drivers early on the season, but newcomer Rochelle has went 2 for 2 on race wins. I don't know if he'll be in a position to make a run for the championship, but at the very least he can get out there and put on a great show for everybody at home. Speaking of, if you're watching along at home and you've got a favorite driver that's out there and you want to let us know you're cheering for him, let us know in the chat. We greatly appreciate it. We try and give all of our drivers as much TV time as we can. Represent those sponsors and their league to the fullest. So thank you guys that always like and subscribe to our videos. We could not do it without you, the fans at home. Jesse Bobo looks like he may come into pit lane. He does for an early pit stop on lap 30. Bobo in the number 14, trying to get ahead on tire strategy, saying, hey, let's make this a 3-stop race. I think what you're going to see out of Kyle Rochelle and Matthew Lee is a 2-stopper if the fuel allotment allows. Both of these guys try and stay out as long as they possibly can. Both running very, very similar lap times within 0.06 of a second. Matthew Lee was 0.06 of a second faster than Kyle Rochelle on that last lap. I think right now both drivers just trying to feel each other out and see what may develop. Rochelle's going to click off another lap led here. We're about 1/3 of the way through the race with 68 laps remaining. As you Drivers are absolutely clicking off some laps here. Rochelle still clicking them off. Looking forward to seeing when these competitors are going to come into pit lane. I've got to wonder how much fuel do they have in these machines. But we're going to take you on board with Matthew Lee for a lap. Listen to his throttle inputs, and it'll really let you hear how much they're having to back off with these tight tires. Matthew Lee not giving that loud pedal a whole lot of opportunity to get lifted off of. You hear him lift off just a little bit in the corners, get the car settled, then back on the gas to rotate it around. Matthew Curry has an incident, goes off track, but I believe he brought it into pit lane safe, so we will stay green out here so far. One of the better green flag runs we've seen. Rory Gamble's coming out of pit lane. Matthew Curry cycled in and out. Brandon Arciero, he's going into pit lane as well on lap 35, so these guys are going to try and make it a 3-lap stop. 3-lap race, I should say. 3-stop race. It's a very rough weekend here. But right now, Kyle Rochelle and Matthew Lee still doing a fantastic job staying out. If I was willing to bet, they're going to try and run these cars dry here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And don't forget, up next, we've got Talladega Super Speedway. Wide open, unrestricted racing. We're going to see some of these cars hit excess of 200 miles an hour when they're working in a draft. And if there's ever going to be any big crashes, you can count on them at Talladega, as Matthew Lee, Kyle Rochelle are going to work around lap traffic here. That is going to be Brandon Arciero going 1 lap down in the 317 singular machine. Oh, Matthew Lee looks like he's going to shake out of the way, allow Arciero to get through. Arciero is on that fresh set of tires, so he's going to try and get his lap back here. But, oh boy, that's a whole lot of traffic. They go 3 wide briefly into turn 3. Arciero does a good job getting his lap back. Kyle Rochelle's on the high line in that white car. He's leading the race. Matthew Lee's in second in the 04 green and black machine. These drivers doing a good job navigating each other, especially as guys come out in different sets of tires. There's a few cars that'll be much faster, but then Matthew Lee gets into the wall, then he gets help. I'm not sure who got collected with him there. The caution does not come out. That's terrible luck for for Matthew Lee. Our points are that I'm not sure who caused that one, but now Jose Medina is going to be out front. As Medina, our lone car that has not pitted yet, you can probably plan on seeing the number 24 machine come in this time by. As you really see the smoke on the backstretch here of Atlanta. Matthew Lee involved with an incident sent him spinning around. Matthew Lee, Kyle Rochelle, Chad Ross, Stephen Page, all in pit lane right now. As Jose Medina in the 24 is going to enjoy a little bit of clean track, go out there and just click off some hot laps. Here comes the number 14, Jesse Bobo. Bobo finds himself a couple laps down at this point. Like I said, so I believe that was James Kaufman involved with that incident with Matthew Lee. It looked like Lee just kind of got a little bit high up into the wall, slowed down a good amount, and that allowed Kaufman the unfortunate opportunity to get into the back of Lee and send him sliding down on the apron. Jose Medina did come into pit lane on lap 41, I believe. Here comes Kyle Rochelle. Will be regaining the lead. Chad Ross now will be moving up into second place. Unfortunately, just having a very bit of bad luck there. He's going to find himself running 5th place, moving up to 3rd now. Poor Lee, not the type of night he wanted. We wanted to see him out there battling with Rochelle. And unfortunately, I believe it's a simple mistake that got compounded with traffic around him. And next thing you know, he's going to be struggling. Chad Ross knows, hey, I'm in a good spot for my points chase. Jose Medina finds himself behind Lee. Medina's got to finish in front of Lee to try and get some points back for his championship. Chad Ross, currently 3rd in points, is looking for a good finish here. He is running 2nd place, and most importantly, he is above Matthew Lee and Jose Medina. Lee, again, is leading the points chase. Medina's in 2nd, and Ross is in 3rd. So if Ross can finish 2nd here and keep Lee and Medina behind him, he may be able to take over the points lead, leaving Atlanta, going into Talladega. It's still anybody's guess. And right now, Ross trying to put some pressure on Kyle Rochelle in the number 12. Rochelle has been very dominant out there today. Well, let's take a look at 3rd place. Kenneth McCullough Jr. in the number 5 machine. McCullough Jr. was one of the guys that came in a bit early. He pitted on lap 33. It looks like he might be going for the planned 3-stop race, while the other competitors stretched it out to lap 39 or 41. So not sure how that's going to play out for these drivers, if they're going to stay as long as they can, try and get some track position, and then come in for the final stint with those fresh tires. Chad Ross still following Kyle Rochelle. We're on lap 46, getting ready to approach the halfway mark of the evening. Lap traffic coming into play. I believe that's James Kaufman. Rochelle's going to dive to the inside. Chad Ross is going to follow. Now he's going to follow Rochelle on the high line. So that's lap traffic on the high side. James Kaufman. And then a race leader, Kyle Rochelle. Chad Ross going to get through pretty clean here. James Kaufman doing a good job avoiding the leaders, trying to stay out of the way of the race. Very respectable, very professional move out there. Rochelle is clicking off 31.12s while Chad Ross clicked off at 31.14. Let's see what it is this time by. Both of the drivers slow down about 0.2 of a second that lap. So part of that could be navigating lap traffic, and the other part could very well be tire burn off. These guys really haven't done much tire saving or fuel saving. They're holding it wide open, trying to get some laps led, and in Chad Ross's case, just hang on to the number 12. We know the number 12 Rochelle has the pace. Chad Ross would like nothing more to be able to win here today at Atlanta Motor Speedway. But even a second place would be fantastic for the 38 machine, getting some much needed points over his competition, Matthew Lee, Jose Medina. With just a few rounds left in our point series, anything can happen. As we've seen at several of our races, all it takes is one mistake for a driver and things can get flipped up on their head. Kyle Rochelle with a 30.63 that last lap. Chad Ross with a 30. It's just updated. So Kyle Rochelle with a 31.56. Chad Ross with a 31.54. These guys are running almost an identical pace lap after lap. That really shows just how smooth and consistent these drivers are. As we're at the halfway mark, we're going to run to a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more action here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. All right, race fans, we are back. While we were away, Kyle Rochelle still runs out front, starting to gain about a tenth of a lap over second place Chad Ross. And we did have a crash. It's going to be Rory Gamble has an incident. We'll get a replay for you. Gamble in the number 13, not quite sure what happens. Maybe comes out on slick tires, cold tires, and then sends his Taco Bell sponsored Ford Mustang into the wall. Oh no, that was the number 14 of Jesse Bobo also gets involved. Both these guys locking up. I think Rory is going to actually get a tow to the pit, so he does not bring out the caution. Well done to him. One of the few incidents we've really seen here tonight. But look at this. Rochelle has worked up to a 0.75 second gap over second place Chad Ross. Meanwhile, Matthew Lee in a heck of a battle with Jose Medina. This is your battle for fourth place. Lee has about a 2.3 second gap to third place runner Kenneth McCullough Jr. McCullough Jr. doing a great job. He is up 8 spots to make his way into podium contention. McCullough did pit about 6 laps earlier than his competition surrounding him in the top 5. So not sure if we're going to see another early pit stop from the number 5 machine, or now we're going to see McCullough try and stretch out that fuel window. We know the guys are able to go to about lap 39 to 40 on fuel. But how far does he want to stretch this run and gamble on having the freshest tires at the end of this long race? We are 6/10 of the way through it. Still lots of laps to go. 40 laps remaining as Kyle Rochelle puts on a clinic up front. Meanwhile, Matthew Lee still has his hands full with Jose Medina in the number 24. Nine drivers still on the lead lap here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Matthew Lee Not getting any breaks from Jose Medina. Medina's going to dive it down the inside, going into turn 3. The 24 of Medina's on the low line. The 04 of Matt Lee is on the high line. Medina is going to get the spot back and retake 4th place from the 04 Matthew Lee. He finds himself shuffled back to 5th. Again, Lee had that big incident earlier on, maybe struggling with some aero damage and not able to run quite as quick of a pace unless he has someone pushing the air for him out here. Look at that, Medina starting to find something working, able to get something really, really flowing out there in the 24 Tecate-sponsored race car. Medina finds himself about 2.1 seconds behind 3rd place, Kenneth McCullough Jr., and about 11 seconds from race leader Kyle Rochelle. Let's see what's going on with Kenneth McCullough Jr. as he's happy out there in no man's land, just clicking off laps, making it happen. McCullough doing a fantastic job, just clicking off laps, hitting his marks time after time. Very, very consistent. Let's check back up front. Chad Ross finds himself 1.12 seconds behind race leader Kyle Rochelle. Does have a little bit of lap traffic between him and Rochelle, but he will be able to work that draft just a little bit. That's Brandon Arciera. Finds himself a lap down. So Chad Ross trying to use that draft of lap traffic to pull his way back up to Rochelle. Arciera, always the gentleman, moves to the high line, allowing 2nd place Chad Ross to go around. As Arciera comes into pit lane on lap 65. Now, Chad Ross, Kyle Rochelle, both pitted on lap 39. So ideally, that means you're going to see him around lap 78. Thinking about pitting at the latest if they run the same laps on the set of tires as they did at the very beginning. So it's going to be interesting to see what Rochelle, Chad Ross are going to make happen here. Kenneth McCullough Jr. Again, he came in on lap 33. So I'm not sure if he's going to try and drag it out a little bit here, if we're going to see the number 5 machine of McCullough Jr. think about coming in. McCullough Jr. going to stay a little bit longer this go around. A lot of these drivers really feeling the effects of tire wear as the run develops. Kyle Rochelle is about 2 seconds off of his best lap time of the session, and so is Chad Ross. So about 2 seconds is what happens after 30 some odd laps here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. They really starting to fall off. Makes it very hard to push forward. Kenneth McCullough Jr. clicking off laps. Chad Ross in the 38, he's about 1.8 seconds back and losing time to race leader Kyle Rochelle. Chad Ross finds himself about 0.3 of a second slower a lap than race leader Kyle Rochelle. So Ross really starting to battle those worn tires as he gets 30 laps on that set. So if these guys follow the same tire strategy, you expect to see them come in around lap 75 to 78. Not sure if things are going to get switched up to try and get themselves better position towards the end of the run. I'd be willing to bet at this point they're going to stay out as late as they possibly can. No one wants to come in too early. Yes, you'll be able to take tires and fuel and know you can make it to the end and probably be very, very fast for a few laps. But you also don't want to be losing tires towards the end of your run late in the race. But Chad Ross is going to bring it in on lap 70. So with 30 laps to go, Ross is going to take 4 fresh Goodyears and a tank of gas and get back out there. Let's see what Kyle Rochelle in the number 12, our race leader, does here. Rochelle clicks off another lap, 29 to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Going to be interesting to see just how long Rochelle stays out for. He's got about a 11.6 second gap over second and third place. And still faster than second and third place. So at this point, I think Rochelle's going to stay out until he has to come in for fuel. So you may see him staying out a little bit longer. As Chad Ross in the 38, he's already taken his 4 fresh Goodyears and fuel. Let's see what type of lap times Chad Ross is going to put down on his flying lap. Chad Ross knows not able to carry that pace on that older set of tires as much as Kyle Rochelle is. So come in, let's see what he clicks off here. A 31.16, so he's about 1.2 seconds faster a lap than race leader Kyle Rochelle. Rochelle is going to have to come in at one point. Here he is. Rochelle's going to drop it into pit lane. And I believe that's going to allow Jose Medina, Stephen Page, Joseph Burgess to cycle to the front. All of those guys pit around the lap 39 to 41 mark. So Kyle Rochelle is going to take the 4 Goodyears and fuel. Jose Medina is going to lead a couple more laps here. And in front of him, you've got Brandon Arciero in the 317. Arciero just trying to get some laps back at this point. Arciero's last pit stop was on lap 63. Should be able to stretch it out on fuel here towards the very end. As Chad Ross gets his lap back as well. Kyle Rochelle has left pit lane and will try and chase down the leaders. Right now, Rochelle is about 29-30 seconds back from Jose Medina. But Medina, Page, Burgess all pitted around that lap 38 to 41 mark. I do not think they will have the fuel to go all the way to the end here. As you see Medina, he's going to come into pit lane. Stephen Page stays out. Joseph Burgess, I believe, still staying out. Chad Ross once again finds himself about 2 seconds back from Kyle Rochelle. Race leader this time by will be Joseph Burgess. Clicking off his lead lap for the night. I believe his only lead lap so far tonight in the number 19 machine. Kyle Rochelle, Chad Ross absolutely hauling the mail. They are about 7.5 seconds back from Joseph Burgess and climbing as they are coming out on a fresh set of tires and a whole lot of speed behind them. Here comes Joseph Burgess, going to bring it in a pit lane. That will allow Kyle Rochelle to regain the race lead with 25 laps to go. We know that Rochelle and Ross should be able to make it till the end here. Ross has got to have to save tires like it's going out of style as he regains P2. And then Kenneth McCall Jr. will regain P3 as Joseph Burgess is still in the pit lane. Matthew Lee not having a great night in the 04. He finds himself about 1 second back from Kenneth McCall Jr. The podium is within grasp. He just has to make it happen. Lee pit on lap 69, the same time that Chad Ross came in. And then Jose Medina, Stephen Page, they came in on lap 75. So they will have the freshest set of tires towards the front of the top 5. Medina finds himself about 7 seconds back, 2.8 seconds back from Matthew Lee. And Page finds himself about 10 seconds back from Matthew Lee. 23 laps to go. Not sure if these guys are going to have the pace to get all the way up there in time and really battle for that podium. As Matthew Lee's last lap was a 31.75 compared to third place Kenneth McCall Jr. clicked off a 31.17. So McCall Jr. getting used to the tire wear here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, doing a good job keeping the 05 clean and staying out there. That's what wins championships. It isn't hot laps. It isn't the qualifying. It is lap after lap, running a very smooth, steady, consistent pace and keeping it up there at the front week after week. Kenneth McCall Jr., he's got 2 top 5s and 4 top 10s. Average finish is around 5th place. He's had 1 DNF so far this season. It might have been a DNS. And his best so far is a pair of 3rds. 1 at Dover, 1 at Daytona. So he is very familiar running up front consistently in podium contention. As we see him once again sitting in 3rd place. That's Ken McCall Jr. in the number 5 machine, doing a great job with 20 laps to go. McCall Jr. finds himself about 0.15 seconds a lap faster than Chad Ross. With 20 laps to go, I don't think that's going to be enough pace to make up the time unless you see Chad Ross rapidly falling off pace here. If I did my math right, if they run the identical pace for the end until the end of the race, Chad Ross would be finding himself about 4 seconds short, Kenneth McCall Jr. would find himself about 4 seconds short of Chad Ross. Now that could very well change as Ross, we've seen, gets less and less quick as the tire wear really comes in. Let's see, can Kenneth McCall Jr. keep hammering down in that 05 Chevrolet Camaro? Or will Chad Ross in 2nd place find a little bit more speed and allow himself to keep the Kenneth McCall Jr. machine at bay? It's 18 laps to go. Still, anything can happen. One thing that's fairly certain, though, Kyle Rochelle putting on an amazing race here tonight. He's got a 4-second gap to 2nd place Chad Ross and about a 10.8 second gap to 3rd place Kenneth McCall Jr. So if Rochelle can keep the pace where he's at, he's looking very, very good for 3 in a row at the FEG PC Cup Series and the Next Gen NASCAR cars? I'm not quite sure the correct way to say it on that one. But regardless, Rochelle doing a fantastic job showing these guys what it's like to be a frequent finisher up front. As he's getting faster and faster, he clicked off at 31.43. Chad Ross with a 31.9. Kenneth McCall Jr. a 31.67. So Chad Ross really starting to fall off the pace as those tires get worn in. Still have a battle shaping up for 4th place. That's Matthew Lee following Jose Medina. Jose, another one of those consistent drivers. He's been here week in and week out. I don't believe he's missed a race. His highest finish of the season, a 6th place at Daytona. So Medina might not always be the fastest guy throwing down hot laps, but he is very, very consistent. As you see him running 4th place here today. And if anybody's a testament to that consistency can get you up there in the championship, Medina, again, is our 2nd place runner in this FEG PC Cup Series championship. The man's never had a podium, but he's here every week, driving very smooth and very consistent, and doing a fantastic job keeping that 24 Tecate sponsor machine up front, chugging away. Kenneth McCall Jr. clicked off a 31.85 his last lap. Chad Ross at 32.26. So Ross starting to lose a little bit more time here as the tire degradation really starting to wear on the number 38. Kenneth McCall Jr. finds himself consistently about 0.2 seconds a lap faster than Chad Ross. But with 12 laps remaining, I'm not sure if Kenneth McCall Jr. is going to have the pace all the way to the end or catch up to Chad Ross. Ross currently holds a 5.5 second gap to 3rd place Kenneth McCall Jr. 12 laps remaining. It'll be 11 as Kyle Rochelle crosses the line. Rochelle doing a fantastic job. Still clicking off 31.85s. One of the faster cars in this little bit of a fuel stage we see out there. And that's doing it with no draft, no support from friends, just good old-fashioned hard driving. Kyle Rochelle in that solid white privateer effort number 12 machine. Red numbers on, I believe, the Camaro, I believe. One of the odd parts about this new iRacing next-gen Cup cars is a lot of the broadcasting software does not yet have the manufacturer logos built in. So we're having to use the old eye in the sky, the Mark II eyeballs to see what these guys are actually running. Chad Ross in 2nd place doing a fantastic job. Getting a little bit of draft support from Matthew Curry, who finds himself a lap down, as well as the number 47, that's William Lothar, running the low line, drifts up high. All these guys trying to figure out where they're going to go and get by clean, as Chad Ross is comfortable following or getting followed by the 51 just for a few more laps. That's Matthew Curry giving him a push, and Curry trying to work his way back up. Every position counts here at the FEG PC Cup Series. There's no pulling over and quitting. All these guys are out there for points, doing their best, running as hard as they possibly can for the duration of the event. And they've got to know, as soon as they're done here, they're going to get right into Talladega Super Speedway for another shootout. Our doubleheader series tonight after taking next week off. It's going to be a long night for some of these drivers, but it's also going to be a very, very fun night as we see this will be, again, round 6 and 7 of the series here tonight. Next week we go to New Hampshire Motor Speedway, a tighter track where we'll see a little bit more bumping and grinding than we've seen historically. Kenneth McCall Jr., he finds himself still about 4.68 seconds back. Chad Ross is getting help from that lap traffic. When they run single file like that, it allows Ross to get a little bit more breathing room over Kenneth McCall Jr. with 6 laps to go. McCall Jr. pushing the air all by his lonesome. And that's going to make him run a little bit slower than Chad Ross, who is still running 32.4. So Kenneth McCall Jr. actually a 1/10 of a lap faster his last time by, but Chad Ross would probably be going a little bit slower if he did not have the draft support from lap traffic. So that is working out well for the 38. 5 laps to go. It has been the Kyle Rochelle show all the way around. Rochelle leading definitely the most laps in this race so far. 3 to go. Once he crosses the line, his last lap was at 32.24. So still one of the faster cars out on track. Jose Medina actually put down a 32 flat his last time by. So with the worn tires, that is nothing to scoff at. All these guys doing a fantastic job out here tonight, keeping it relatively clean. We had a couple of close calls for cautions, but able to keep it out there and chugging along. Three laps to go. Rochelle still looking great for a race win, making it 3 in a row here tonight. He will have the opportunity to make it 4 in a row at Daytona, or excuse me, Talladega, our next race of the night. We're going to see a lot of bumper banging, door grinding action as all these guys trying to salvage some points away from Matthew Lee, currently running sixth place. Right now, Jose Medina is in front of the 04 as well, so he's in a good spot to gain some points. Chad Ross in a good spot to gain some points as well to try and put themselves in a better position for the chase and championship runs. It'll be a white flag this time by Kyle Rochelle, doing a fantastic job here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. White flag is out as Rochelle crosses the line. He's going to take it around this speedway. It's going to take him about 33 seconds for the final time. But Rochelle, a fantastic run here today, doing whatever it takes to run out front. And he does so very, very strong. Kyle Rochelle, checker flag is out. Put your hands together. Making it 3 in a row, the number 12, Kyle Rochelle. A fantastic run here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It is time for victory burnouts, followed by a very quick podium interview of all of our top 3 drivers. We're going to see Rochelle with a very well-deserved burnout here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're going to try and get these drivers up into the broadcast podium room for their quick speeches. And then we get ready for Talladega, where it's going to be an absolute barn burner as these guys are going to hang it out wide open, good old plate racing. And expecting to see a lot of great runs here at Talladega. Up first, we've got third place, Kenneth McCullough Jr. in the 05 machine. Kenneth, what a great run tonight, my friend. Found yourself up on the podium. Always a pleasure to have you up here. One of the Georgia favorites out here at the FEG PC Cup Series.
That was a good race, man. I was on a little bit different tire strategy than them guys in front of me, but it got me a lot of track position early, though.
Yeah, seems like it works out. You've been the king of third places so far this season. This is your third of the season. We know consistency wins championships. Are you pretty happy with how things are progressing? Or are you going to try and work on a couple things and maybe squeeze out a second or first before the end of the season?
I'd like to get a couple wins, so try to build my confidence up a little bit. Got to do something to be able to hang with Matthew and them.
Well, again, consistently, you've been the king of it here at this series. Kenneth, before we let you go, anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
I'd like to thank you for putting the broadcast on, and thank Jeff.
Well, always a pleasure, Kenneth. We'll let you get ready for Talladega, and we'll hopefully see you back on the box.
Yes, sir.
All right, up next, you've got second place Chad Ross in the 38 machine. Chad, a great run tonight. Just looked like that tire wear was really starting to bite you as the runs developed.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, I guess we were all getting tight there at the end, but I guess I wasn't doing as good of a job as those other guys were on saving it, but still came through with a second place, so I'll take it.
Yeah, well done tonight. That's going to move you up a few points. You may be able to catch Mr. Matthew Lee going into the championship rounds. Second podium of the season. We know you didn't have the race you wanted at Pocono, but how are you feeling going into Talladega for the doubleheader here tonight?
Good old Dega, man. It's a big crapshoot, right? So we'll try to just be there around on the last lap, and then we'll have a shot at it.
Well, Chad, we'll let you get ready for Talladega. Before we let you go, if you'd like to thank any friends, family, sponsors, the floor is yours, my friend.
How about I'll thank Hurricane Elsa for not knocking out my power last night, and thank you and Jeff for all you do for
Always
the
a
league.
always a pleasure, Chad. A bunch of great guys here. We'll let you get ready for Talladega, and we hope to see you up here again, my friend. All right, up next, the man of the hour. Kyle Rochelle in the number 12 car makes it 3 for 3 on the top spot of the podium. Gotta be feeling great right now, Kyle.
Yeah, kind of like that. Pretty happy with that finish. Pretty cool to go 3 for 3.
Yeah,
Thought it
right
was
now.
gonna be.
Didn't mean to
What's
step
that?
on you. I didn't mean to step on you. My apologies. But yeah, you may be able to break Matthew Lee's streak. I think he went 3 for 3 early on in the season. So how are you feeling going to Talladega? I know it's a wide open bumper banging track. Are you feeling pretty good going into that one? Or are you a little apprehensive of what can happen out there?
I like the plate racing a lot, so we'll see what happens. I mean, anything can happen. So if I win this, I'd be pretty surprised myself. But anything can happen. So be cool to see if we can get some more cars. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, a little bit light of tens. I think some guys are still out of town from July 4th or nursing some headaches and possibly burnt fingers from the holiday, but always a lot of
Yeah.
very talented drivers, and I believe we went green that entire time, which is great to see. Were you pretty happy with how the car developed as it started to tighten up with that wear, or is it getting a little bit not super fun towards the end?
About the middle of the first run, it started getting tight, and I made an adjustment and to where I was able to get the car loose and drive the car more with the right rear and get more drive off the corner. And I think that helped me a lot. Who knows to say what would have really happened if Matt didn't get wrecked and I didn't get into Chad on the getting into pit road. But I think it would have been a lot closer race if that hadn't happened. But I mean, the car felt really good. The second run, it was starting to get a little too loose for me, and then the third run, it really felt great. Once you got behind a car on the longer runs, the car really wanted to step out from underneath you, so you had to be careful. But it was fun. I like this track a lot. So
Well, you made it look easy, my friend. Before we let you go, get ready for Talladega, get back to your hauler. Anybody you'd like to thank that may be cheering you on from across the globe?
I just got to thank the whole RS Racing team. You guys, FEG, PC, all you guys do for the series. It's pretty cool. So just want to thank everyone.
Well, excellent job, Kyle. We'll hopefully see if you can make it 4 for 4 as we head into Talladega. Good luck, my friend.
All right, thank you.
All right, we're going to pull up the quick results here for everybody to take a gander at. Kyle Rochelle out front, Chad Ross second, Kenneth McCullough Jr. third, Jose Medina fourth, Stephen Page makes his way up to fifth, and then Matthew Lee having a rough night in sixth. A lot of talented drivers out there tonight. We're going to be right back as we get ready to head into Talladega, where it's going to be very, very exciting. A lot of competitors holding it wide open. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, race fans, to round 2 of the FEG PC Cup Series Wednesday doubleheader. We are at Talladega Super Speedway as all the drivers are committing to their single car qualifying session. Right now, Matthew Lee's clicked off a provisional pole with a 51.73. Let's watch Kenneth McCullough Jr. now sporting the number 1 in his Camaro. Let's see what McCullough Jr. can put down on his first lap here at the Super Speedway. Now, historically, you'll see drivers trying to run that third lane, or I guess some would call it the fourth lane, all the way at the top for their first lap. Build up as much speed as they possibly can. And on their final lap, try and hug the inside of the race line, put down the fastest possible time that they can. Try and make that track as small as possible. As we see Kenneth McCullough Jr. out there charging along in his Chevrolet Camaro. A very clean paint scheme on the number 1 here tonight. These drivers are in the next-gen Cup cars, so this is the car of tomorrow compared to the old car of tomorrow. So kind of untested in real life so far. iRacing, one of the first people to provide it out there. Teamed up with NASCAR to get it out in the hands of the fans as quickly as possible. McCullough Jr. does a 52.48 on his opening lap. Let's see what he does this time by. You're going to see the number 1 hold the inside line as long as he possibly can and try and make that racetrack as small as physically possible to try and see if he can edge out Matt Lee, who put down a 51.72. Somebody else to keep an eye on, Kyle Rochelle, the number 12, didn't have the best qualifying that he was hoping for, put down a 51.8, the same lap time that William Lothar put down. Well, let's see what McCullough Jr. does here on his final time around the Super Speedway. Can he get better than a 52.48? It'll be the final time coming out of 4 through the tri-oval across the start-finish line. McCullough Jr. did a fantastic run, does a 51.79, so makes his way up towards the top as his best of the qualifying. One car still on track, that's going to be Joseph Burgess, but misses the qualifying. Let's take it to the grid for tonight's feature race. Matthew Lee out front in the pole position. James Kaufman starting second. Kenneth McCullough Jr. starting third. Kyle Rochelle starting fourth. William Lothar will be starting 5th as our favorite fast Canadian. Chad Ross in 6th. Jose Medina starting 7th. Jesse Bobo starting 8th. Rory Gamble starting 9th. Anthony Reiner starting 10th. Matthew Curry 11th. Joseph Burgess will be starting 12th. Then you've got, that's it, Joseph Burgess in 12th. So we lost a couple drivers from our opening round at Atlanta Motor Speedway. But it's time to take it live. 75 laps around the Super Speedway. It's going to be a guaranteed good time. Lots of wide open action. As always, in the booth, I'm James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, bringing the action 1080p, 60 frames a second. Always a great time here with all the friendly folks at FEGPC.net, the lead provider of custom-built sim solutions for your gaming needs. iRacing, DCS, Microsoft Flight Sim, you name it, they've got a custom-built rig to fit your needs. Or maybe you're a broadcaster looking to upgrade. They've got what it takes to run triple monitors at the best specs. You tell them what you want and they will make it happen. It's going to be a 75-lap shootout here at Talladega. Let's see what these competitors have. Are we going to get a good green flag run like we saw at Atlanta Motor Speedway? Well, we won't tell you the results to avoid kind of ruining the race for those that are going to go back and watch, or those that are watching live, just tune in and want to catch round 1 of this doubleheader. Matthew Lee will be starting on the inside row in the number 04 machine. James Kaufman starting on the high side. It shows him on track with a 25 lifetime. His transponder reads at 7. Then you've got Kenneth McCullough Jr. and Kyle Rochelle will start in the second row. Rochelle, a very, very fast driver in the number 12 machine. Let's see who can bring it home at Talladega. It's a smaller field, so you might see some good green flag runs and a little bit less carnage. And at the tail end, I believe that's Joseph Burgess trying to make his way back up to the pack. Get formed up. Might have caught him midway, not quite ready for the race to start. May have been trying to adjust something on his sim racing rig. The beautiful Alabama Speedway. You can see it clear as day from the I-20 interstate. As you drive around the Munford and Leeds area there over there in Alabama. I've got to say, probably one of the biggest parking lots I think I've ever seen. Well, maybe parking lot's a strong word. Parking area, since it appears to be pretty much grass everywhere. But we're going to be all eyes are on Matthew Lee in the 04, expecting a big, big launch from him, trying to get out front early on. Not sure if and when we're going to see some two-wide action. I think for the most part, you can see the field settle in after the first few laps. Click off some laps in single file and maybe do a pit stop or two before they really charge hard for the last bit of racing. Pace car is coming in. Matthew Lee on the inside. He's accompanied by James Coffin on the outside. Kenneth McCullough Jr. is going to start right behind Matthew Lee. And then Kyle Rochelle will start behind James Kaufman. Ready for the lights to turn off here at Talladega. The number 3 of Jesse Bobo having a bit of internet problems, but Matt Lee gets a great, great launch. Rochelle seems to be stuck just a little bit behind James Kaufman, not getting able to launch what they really wanted. For the most part, it seems like most of the field happy to run the low line and get things sorted out, while James Kaufman stuck on the high line. He's accompanied by Kyle Rochelle. These guys don't need to worry too much early on about track position. They know it's a very, very long run ahead of you. It should be about a 2 pit stop night, maybe a 1 stop if these guys can stretch it out. But that high line's got to be seeing what's going on and wanting to drop down low when given the opportunity. Right now, Matthew Lee still out front. He's followed by Kenneth McCullough Jr. William Lothar has a great start. He's up 2 spots, find himself in 3rd place. And then Jose Medina still chasing those points in the 24 machine. He's up 3 spots into 7th. There we go. The field is broken down into single file, willing just to click off some laps, make it something happen. Now, Talladega used to be called Alabama International Motor Speedway. So Talladega Super Speedway is a much shorter way to say that. It was originally built in 1969, so a very old super speedway. And it is actually the longest NASCAR oval. A length of 2.66 miles really allows these guys to build up some speed and really haul the mail. So let's see if anybody's going to be willing to break it out of single file line here. I don't think they are. We saw Jesse Bobo in the number 3 has fallen to the back of the pack to try and dial in those internet issues. Hurricane Elsa, or maybe it's a tropical storm at this point, I'm not rightly sure, wreaking a little bit of havoc on the East Coast this week. I myself am in Georgia calling the shots, and we had some pretty good storms rolling through. I know we've got racers and friends from Florida that were affected a little bit. Not terribly as far as Florida storms go, but we're having a little bit of intermittent internet issues. So good to see everything's kind of worked out for all these drivers. We're going to take you on board Kenneth McCullough Jr., show you how close he is getting to Matthew Lee. A little bit of side-by-side action going on. William Lothar at number 47. Not sure if he's having internet problems or what might have happened there, but the field is getting shaken up just a little bit. So I believe Lothar with some spotty internet and the number 47 machine kind of spiced things up. Rory Gamble in his 38 sponsored Taco Bell machine doing a great job running in fourth, excuse me. He is up 5 spots so far into the run, doing a great job making it happen. Most of the pack still pretty tight together except for Kyle Rochelle. Not sure what's going on in the number 12 machine, if he got shuffled back or what might have happened, but he finds himself about 3 seconds back from the pack, and it's only going to get worse as he's out there with no draft support. So Rochelle not having the night he wanted early on. He may be saved by a pit stop or a caution if he can keep himself on the lead lap. But right now he's about 2 seconds slower than the lead pack, having to drive around out there with no draft support. "50-second lap times here at Talladega. So Rochelle's going to do his best to keep charging hard. He's going to hope the field comes in before that lap 25 mark, because at this current pace, around lap 25, 26, you may see the lead pack catching up to Rochelle as he finds himself about 8 miles an hour slower on the straightaway. Excuse me, about 10 miles an hour on the straightaway with no draft to some of these lead drivers. Rory Gamble, his top speed was 202 miles an hour on that last lap. So that really shows just how much that draft comes into play here at Talladega. As our top 5 glued to each other, nose to tail, everybody trusting their competitors. Really the whole pack kind of in the mix here. Rory Gamble takes a look to the outside against William Lothar, thinks better of it, drops back down low. These guys are all going to work together in that lead pack, try and keep that second pack behind him just a little bit. Matthew Curry, Jose Medina, Anthony Reiner are all in that second pack you see behind this lead pack of 5 drivers. As Gamble keeps taking a look to that outside and realizing he's not going to have the support to make it happen earlier on, and then throws a heck of a block on James Kaufman, who is staying in the draft of those top 3 drivers. Now, if Gamble keeps upsetting the line like he has been the last few laps, that's going to allow that second pack to reel him in, as you see Matthew Curry charging up front, trying to get closer and closer to James Kaufman, the last car in that lead pack. It is a pack of 5 and a pack of 4, separated by about 4 car lengths. I'm not sure if that second pack is going to be able to get there on their own merit without a little bit of bump drafting and pushing their friends up close. Now, one good thing about these next-gen Cup cars, they are very, very effective at bump drafting if you can break the bubble. If you can stay squared up, you can aggressively push your friends all the way around the speedway. As here comes that second pack. Matthew Curry clicks off a 49 flat. So does Jose Medina. That second line is hauling the mail, and here they come. They are now linked up in one super pack up front. That's going to be about 9 drivers in the lead pack. Reiner, I believe he just makes a pass. He's going to fall back, him and his 102 sponsored car. Fastest lap of that one was belonging to Chad Ross and the number 9. Ross clicked off a 48.68. Blistering fast here at Talladega. That is insane. And he also hit 210 miles an hour on that last lap. So Chad Ross just hauling the mail. Look at Matthew Curry, does a 48.78. They keep getting faster. Everybody's getting record trap speeds. Ken McCall Jr. hit 216 miles an hour on his last lap. That is absolutely insanely fast. Matthew Lee still leading the pack, doing a great job staying out front. Now he is going to burn up a little bit more fuel than the guys right behind him, but with how aggressive they're starting to drive, I wonder if we'll see a caution or an incident coming out early onto the run. Kyle Rochelle still about 18 seconds back, 17 seconds back from this lead pack. Chad Ross, Anthony Reiner still battling back and forth. They're going to have to really work quickly to catch that pack in front of them. If they find themselves losing that draft, they are in trouble for a top 5 spot. Ross in the third, and the number 9, excuse me. Anthony Reiner in the 102 machine. And it looks to me like they have well and lost that lead pack, unfortunately. Ken McCullough Jr. still having a great job running second place in the number 1 Camaro, chasing down Matthew Lee. Happy to ride single file for a little bit, keep these cars clean, knock out some fuel wear when they're able to. Not entirely sure when we're going to see pit stops coming into effect here. I would guess around the lap 25 mark to lap 30, depending on what the strategy is. These guys all have 65% fuel capacity, and Talladega is a track that can really burn some gallons. These competitors are wide open all the way around, lap after lap. You may have a little bit of lifting from the guys not out front, so that'd be Kenneth McCullough Jr. So some of the guys will have to check up a little bit as they dive into 1 and dive into 3 as everybody gets their spot figured out. But who does not have the lift at all will be a race leader, Matthew Lee in the 04. He had a 3-race winning streak going on early in the season that found that broken in round 4. He wants to get out there and start putting that 04 back up front again. Meanwhile, Kyle Rochelle, he is tied for series race wins with 3 for Rochelle and 3 for Lee. Rochelle finds himself in 10th place, 25 seconds behind the lead pack right now. He's got to be praying for a caution or the fuel window to open up to try and get himself back with the pack. He's got to plan on coming in with some friends and allies around him, or he's going to be in a rough shape to try and get back out there. As Matthew Lee doing a great job, clicking off lap after lap. He hit 199 miles an hour on that back stretch. Meanwhile, Rory Gamble, one of the fastest trap speeds on that lap, 201 miles an hour. This lead pack is broken up just a little bit. They're not quite running nose to tail, giving each other plenty of room. Nobody really pushing that hard this early on in the run. So no need for bump drafting and pushing your buddy to the front when you can just fall in line, click off some laps, and wait for the fuel windows to open up. As always, if you're watching along from all across the world, let us know which driver you're cheering for. Without friends, fans, and family, this wouldn't be nearly as much fun for racers or broadcasters. And as always, thank you for tuning in to the FEG PC Cup Series. Coming at you live every Wednesday night. Always a great time with some of the best guys on the iRacing service. Right now, this is round 7. Next week, we go to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Then the chase starts with the top 8 drivers at Indianapolis Motor Speedway before we round out the championship at Michigan International Speedway. Always a great time as the pack starts to get broken up more and more. It's going to be Matthew Lee up front, Ken McCullough Jr. second, William Lothar in the 47, our favorite fast Canadian. He's running third. Behind them, a second pack of drivers that more look like they want to go too wide than single file. So that top 4 is going to have to work together and quickly to get back up there to Matthew Lee, Kenneth McCullough Jr., and William Lothar. Otherwise, those 3 drivers working together will be able to extend that gap on this second pack. Starting with James Kaufman running in 4th, Rory Gamble in 5th, Matthew Curry 6th, and Jose Medina 7th. It looks to me like they're going to keep losing time to the lead gap. You can see it on live timing. The gap is just getting a little bit bigger, as it's for the most part a two-car tango, but here comes a little bit of support from Matthew Curry, Jose Medina. They're going to fall in line behind Kaufman and Gamble and try and get up there to that lead pack. That lead pack doing a great job running nose to tail, holding it down, thinking nothing of it, just making it happen. Matthew Lee, one of the top performers of the season. He's our current points leader here at the FEG PC Cup Series. Now let's get you an updated standings after race 7 of 12 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Excuse me, 10. There's a couple placeholders in there. Matthew Lee barely has a lead over Jose Medina. Medina finds himself 9 points back. Chad Ross is about 18 points back. Ross currently running third in points. Kyle Rochelle had moved up 3 spots into 10th place points, but unfortunately finds himself about 131 laps behind championship leader Matthew Lee. Right now, Lee's in a comfortable position to extend that points gap. He's got Ross way at the back, and he's got Jose Medina pretty far back. Medina's running 7th, Chad Ross running 8th. So if Matthew Lee can continue finishing in front of those two drivers, looking at a better opportunity to extend that points lead. Anthony Reiner, he has a moment out there, goes off track, and just at the top of your screen, you can see lap traffic starting to show up. Not quite sure how long these guys are going to run for on this tank of gas. It'll be lap 20 the next time they cross the start-finish line. These drivers have to know if you do not work together, you are in trouble leaving for the pit lane. If you come out on the track all by yourself and have no one to work with, you will rapidly find yourself moving to the back of the field and not able to carry any speed. As right now, Lee, McCullough, Lothar still working single file. They've extended that gap to about 3.5 seconds over 4th place James Kaufman, who's leading his own train with Rory Gamble, Matthew Curry, and Jose Medina. I'm looking forward to this pit cycle. It's going to be pretty exciting, especially if these top 3 cars all come in at the same time. Now Matthew Lee will be the first car that absolutely has to stop for fuel, as he's out there pushing all the air for Kenneth McCullough Jr. and William Lothar. So he will be getting the worst miles per gallon out on the cars, the lead cars out there. A lot of air pushing across the bumper of that car, especially at 200 miles an hour, as they once again get it all the way up to 200 here on the back stretch. Or about 190 with the smaller pack. So pushing about 190 miles an hour in this 3-car draft compared to the 200 mile an hour trap speed they set when we had that massive line of cars at the front. William Lothar's fallen off the pace just a little bit here. Not sure what's going on with Lothar in the 47, or maybe he's doing some fuel saving, trying to keep those 2 cars in front of him. Jesse Bobo, he's going to find himself a lap down as Matthew Lee, Kenneth McCullough Jr. make their way by. Maybe William Lothar is going to be able to use the number 3 for a little bit of a draft, but here comes the number 3. He's going to try and fall in line with the leaders, do some fuel saving by himself. Lothar gives him a shove all the way down to the apron. Lothar may be a little bit unhappy with the way the lap traffic cut down in the line. May think he's getting slowed up just a little bit. As we'll see if Lothar uses that bumper once more to try and push number 3 up to the cars in front of him. Lothar looks like he has the speed on the lap traffic. But just like that, Lothar has a big internet blink. So Lothar having problems. Able to get it collected and back out on track. And he's going to continue following the number 3 of Jesse Bobo, who is 1 lap down. Trying to use that draft. So I'm not sure if Lothar is using a little bit of fuel saving strategy, but we see Chad Ross, Jose Medina, and Matthew Curry. They're all coming into pit lane. And here we go. Here comes Kenneth McCullough Jr. The entire top of the pack is going to dive it into pit lane. A little bit of smoke, but no harm, no foul, as these guys really step on the brakes to slow those machines down, especially when they've been used to running 200 miles an hour the entire time. There's Kenneth McCullough Jr. taking one of the top stalls. Here he is boxing now up front. Matthew Lee, who misses his pit stall, has to back it up. And then an incident on pit lane. I'm not quite sure who that was. I think it was the number 30 car involved in a pit lane skid out. I'm not quite sure who that might have been, but I'm very unfortunate to see, as Matthew Lee's going to make his way back out on track in the lead still. I believe that's going to be James Kaufman and Rory Gamble who had that pit lane incident. Let's see if we can get a replay for you. No, it wasn't Rory. Not quite sure who that might have been. We do have an incident, though. I think Rory Gamble might have thrown it away, leaving pit lane. Able to get it collected and back out there. Matthew Lee still out front. Kenneth McCullough Jr. still running second. So they do have a little bit of support here. William Lothar finds himself about 6 seconds back from these lead pack cars. For the most part, everyone pitted on lap 22 or 23. But Matthew Lee, Kenneth McCullough Jr. are going to charge hard behind me. William Lothar working with, I believe, lap traffic. Trying to get back up front and then battle for the lead. So it is going to be a 3-stop race today, as Lothar finds a little bit of help from the number 19, Joseph Burgess, trying to work their way back up front. Burgess is a lap down from the leaders, but doing a good job working with other cars that get back up there and make something happen. As Kenneth McCullough Jr. very, very happy running in second place. I believe he only has several thirds so far this season, so it'll be good to see the number 1 get out there and maybe increase his odds just a little bit. Yeah, so McCullough's gone 5 races for 3 podiums. So he's very, very consistent, just not quite able to break up into that top spot, winning a race or a second place so far in this segment of the season. So McCullough Jr.'s got to be happy. He knows, hey, if I can just follow Matthew Lee around, I should be able to grab a second pretty easy. And if it gets down to it, if these guys are able to do well on strategy and tires, you may see them battling for the lead. Both of these guys had short pit stops, so I don't believe they took 4 tires. Matthew Lee's in his box for 9.5 seconds. Kenneth McCullough Jr. with a 11-second pit stop. So I believe only 2 tires for these competitors were plus fuel as they come up on lap traffic. I believe that's going to be Kyle Rochelle will unfortunately go 1 lap down to race leader Matthew Lee and Kenneth McCullough Jr. running 1 and 2. So now Rochelle's got to very, very hope for a caution to try and get a lap back. He should be in lucky dog contention here, running right behind the lead pack. So now Kyle Rochelle just praying that somebody else runs out of talent. As we click off our 28th lap here at Talladega, so far so clean and green. These drivers doing a great job running nose to tail and keeping it very, very professional. William Lothar still finds himself about 5.85 seconds back from this lead pack. So Lothar's running third place in the number 47 Canadian machine out there, the fastest Canadian compared to Anthony Reiner in the 102. So a pair of Canadians surrounded by a fleet of American drivers, but love to see him out here. Always a very friendly group of gentlemen. A lot of fun to call their races throughout the week. But man, right now it's all eyes on Matthew Lee. If he runs the same pit strategy, you expect to see him pit around lap 46 or later. But I think these guys are going to stay out as long as they physically can because they are still gaining ground over third place. So every lap they can stay out at this rate is looking better and better for a race win to get a little bit of speed and distance on the competition. Tire wear not a major factor here at Daytona, as you're not eating up tires too bad on the very large banking and holding it wide open. You might get a little bit of heat on the lefts, I believe is what wears the most on this track, but no worries for our top two drivers. Still hitting 192 and 193 miles an hour working with this three-car tandem. Kevin McCall Jr. giving a pretty hearty shove to Matthew Lee in the 04. Matt Lee in the green and black car out front of the 04. And then Kenneth McCall Jr. in the black and white number 1 machine. And you may see the number 12. We go, that's third place. Unfortunately, it is not. That is Kyle Rochelle, who is the lead car 1 lap down. So he's going to try and stay with the leaders as long as he possibly can. But I think what's going to happen here is Kenneth McCullough Jr., Matthew Lee, our second and first place drivers, are going to pick up more and more lap cars that will fall in line here, and that will only make that lead pack just a little bit faster. As you see Rory Gamble in the 38 machine, the Taco Bell sponsored car. He's going to try and give the leaders the preferred line once they come up on him. So let's see Rory Gamble now. He's going to go a lap down. Going to quickly fall in line here behind Kyle Rochelle. And now it is a 4-car draft up front. If Gamble can squeeze up to this pack, he knows, hey, I've got to pass Kyle Rochelle to try and get the lucky dog position. But again, that's just going to make this lead pack faster and faster. They extended the gap over third place William Lothar. It is 8.6 seconds and climbing fast, as these competitors are just able to carry a little bit more speed around the super speedway working together like this. Kenneth McCullough Jr. doing a fantastic job staying linked up to Matthew Lee, our race leader in the 04. Kyle Rochelle doing a fantastic job as well, staying linked up. Gamble, a little bit apprehensive, doesn't want to stick his nose too hard into it. Just kind of content following along those 3 drivers in front of him. But look how close they are getting. They are really pushing each other down this tri-oval, going into turn 1. Now, McCullough Jr.'s got to be a little bit protective of that inside line. I don't think you'll see Kyle Rochelle try and squeeze his way in there, but every time he swings just a little wide coming out of the corner, it's just enough of a carrot to dangle in front of fellow racers saying, hey, you can kind of move in here if you want. Well, what he may be doing in those corners is putting a little bit of fresh air on the front of his race car, trying to cool it down. And there we go, a big, big crash. Kyle Rochelle, Rory Gamble get together. And that's going to bring out the first caution of the night. And unfortunately, Rochelle is not in a good spot. He will not get the lucky since he was involved with that incident. But let's get the slow motion replay here for you. Sponsored by FEGPC.net. Kyle Rochelle in the number 12 machine. Behind him, Rory Gamble. We're going to watch Rory Gamble here. Looks like he's going to try and go outside. and then hooks back low. Maybe thought he was clear, but just gets into the corner panel of the number 12, Kyle Rochelle, and that's going to violently send Rochelle and Gamble into the wall. Count the spins, 1, 2, 3, all the way in the air before those 4 Goodyears touch down. And that's going to take out Rory Gamble and Kyle Rochelle as our first caution of the night comes out. So that should allow Joseph Burgess, I believe, is in lucky dog contention. So you may see the number 19 flying around. Reiner out of the race. 6 cars still on the lead lap. Not sure if we're going to see anybody pit here. No, we are. We're going to see the race leaders. So they're going to be cutting it close on fuel towards the end. We saw them go about 24 laps on their first run. So they are going to come in, grab some fresh Goodyears and tires. Kenneth McCall Jr. unfortunately missing the pit box there, having to back up. Matthew Lee in and out with 6 seconds. Kenneth McCall Jr. is going to drop his pace or his race car a little bit earlier. So none of these guys up front taking 4 tires, just enough fuel to try and make it till the end. And 2 tires as we saw in the case of McCullough. So McCullough will lose 1 spot in that pit stop to William Lothar, our favorite fast Canadian in the number 47 machine. And then Matthew Lee will remain out front. Rory Gamble shows as 1 lap down. I don't know if Gamble is going to come back out or if he is done for the day. Kyle Rochelle has not pitted yet. Let's see what's going on with number 12. So Rochelle trying to get the wave around, get back in the lead lap, but heavy damage for the number 12 machine. So let's see if Rochelle can get a lap back here, and then maybe you might see him dive into pit lane trying to get that machine worked on. At this point, we know he's got a 100% stay in somebody's draft. He will not be able to push air by himself, missing the whole front end of that number 12 machine. And the back end. So Rochelle just having a rough night all the way around, figuratively and literally, as the number 12 machine looks battle worn at this point. We got a little bit of a comment on Kenneth McCullough Jr.'s paint scheme, saying just how clean that thing is looking today. McCullough doing a good job. Currently in 3rd, lost that 1 position on his pit stop. Kyle Rochelle, I believe, is going to get the wave around here. He is. So Rochelle's going to go hauling around and then maybe try and dive into pit lane. James Kaufman also with the wave around. Jesse Bobo with the wave around. That's going to move 3 cars up to the lead lap. And then Matthew Lee will be starting up front on the inside. William Lothar on the high line. Kenneth McCall Jr. will be starting 3rd on the inside. To his right side, I believe that's going to be Jose Medina in the 24 machine. We're about halfway through tonight's festivities. Still lots of racing left to go, and that was our first caution, so not too bad at Talladega. We know what they say, though. Cautions breed cautions. As everybody's coming out on a fresh set of tires, you may be willing to carry a little bit more speed and make something happen no matter what it takes. They're going to get formed up. Kyle Rochelle, James Kaufman, Jesse Bobo still flying around the racetrack trying to catch up to this lead pack. William Lothar still having the occasional blink there, something he's going to have to keep an eye on, especially as these guys start running in proper pack format. It just takes one blink where it can really upset a freight train of cars, so hopefully we see that 47's Ford Mustang get dialed in, and hopefully Hurricane Elsa not affecting him too poorly, even though he is a Canadian. I don't think it's gotten there, but we can blame it on Elsa on his behalf. Give him an easy out, you know? We're going to line them up. Pace car will be in this time. Watch Matthew Lee on the inside in the 04. He is known for great launches. Here we go at Talladega. The field is stacked. Jose Medina, the 24, is itching to go. He's all over the back of William Lothar. Green flag is out. And Lothar with a spectacular launch here today. Lothar is going to run the high line until he can fall in behind Kenneth McCullough Jr. There you go. See him dropping down low. He's accompanied by Matthew Curry in the 51. And now that we've got these guys formed back up, you're going to see a little bit of jockeying for position as guys try and get things sorted out. Meanwhile, in the back of the scene, you see Kyle Rochelle really struggling with the damage he has on the number 24 as the entire field in front of him stacks up single file. That is 9 drivers coming together and making something happen. I believe Kyle Rochelle may have parked it here. Great single file driving. Matthew Lee out front, Kenneth McCullough Jr. second. William Lothar running in third. Everybody running single file. Nobody wants to get out of position just quite yet. We're going to take a look at the tower, but I do believe Kyle Rochelle, he is indeed out for tonight. The number 12 machine calling it early after that big incident. Unfortunately, not really his fault from what I saw, so I hate to see it for number 12. He's such a fast driver, and it will win a 3-race winning streak for number 12. So now Matthew Lee, he's won 3 races so far this season, wants to make it a 4th. As he's accompanied by Kenneth McCullough Jr. He's been running great all night, second place very consistently. If McCullough could stop the race right here and finish, this would be his highest yielding result so far of this season, excuse me, for the FEG PC Cup Series. Jesse Bobo at the back of your screen, trying to catch up to this lead pack in front of him, but Chad Ross, the number 8 position, is at the caboose of this freight train of drivers up front. I believe you're going to see, for the most part, drivers pretty happy staying here and clicking off laps. Matthew Lee going to try and win it, or lead the most laps from start to finish. Kenneth McCullough Jr. extremely happy to be running second right now. Lap 40 of 75, so about 35 laps remaining. We're expecting to see one more pit stop from these drivers before the race ends. Those guys seem like they've just been taking fuel. Pretty much everyone pitted between lap, really the entire top 6 pitted on lap 34. While some drivers came in on lap 22 and 23 trying to stay out a little bit longer. Keep that track position, and they're only going to pit under yellow at this point. So if my little broadcasting math is correct, you'll see drivers thinking about coming in between lap 55 and 58 for a final splash off to make it all the way to the end on fuel. There's definitely be some strategizing going along with the driver, saying, hey, I'll pit if you pit. Working together, trying to strategize and see, hey, If we can work together, we can keep this draft train going. But if you come in all by yourself, you're going to quickly find yourself in big, big trouble. And this is one of those tracks. If you're not working in a draft, it's going to be very, very hard, if not impossible, to catch your way back up to the front. Look now, I mean, pretty much the entire top 8 all running single file. 9 drivers, excuse me, running single file. Matthew Lee still doing a great job up front. Kenneth McCullough Jr. in second. William Lothar, though, has some internet problems as we see the 47 with a big, big blink. That's going to make that line space out just a little bit to try and give him enough space when his car magically re-enters here at Talladega Superspeedway. Matthew Lee, his top speed that lap was 202 miles an hour. So they are hauling the mail, but look at this. Jesse Bobo with 206 miles an hour on his last lap. Blistering fast into number 3. A lot of great drivers out here holding it down, trying to keep it blazing out there. For the most part, most of the field up front hitting top speeds of 200 to 203 miles an hour. Everybody working single file, being very, very cautious, especially through the corners. Don't want to accidentally hit your buddy's side of the bumper. That's the quickest way to find yourself careening into a wall here at Talladega. And for the most part, all these guys doing a great job of avoiding the big one. The only incident we've had so far on lap 33 was a 2-car pileup. That was going to be between Kyle Rochelle and Rory Gamble. Other than that, been pretty fantastic racing out here today. As everyone's doing a fantastic job trying to burn off some laps, get through this fuel run before you'll see that one final pit stop. Again, between lap 55 and 58 is our prediction, maybe even up to lap 60. Matthew Lee's very good at saving tires and strategizing, but there's not a whole lot of strategy as far as the driving goes on saving tires and fuel here at Talladega, especially when you're out front. You've got no other option but to hold it wide and cross your fingers and toes just a little bit. You don't get collected anything. So Lee kind of at a small disadvantage, knowing he has to set the pace and maintain the pace. Kenneth McCullough Jr. in a very good spot, allowing Matthew Lee to punch through that air, burn a little bit more fuel. As you see drivers start to wiggle out just a little bit down the straightaways, get some fresh air on those cars. Nobody wants to overheat this late in a run, especially when you're linked up nose to tail like these drivers have been for the last about 21 laps. We've seen some great single file action. This is one of those things that looks much easier than it is. Holding 200 miles an hour nose to front, you can't really see your turn-in marks when you've got guys all in front of you. You can try driving through the window of your competitors, but that makes it very, very tough. And that's what you'll see. A few of the guys kind of wiggle those cars out coming into turn 1 and into turn 3 as they try and find their markers as best as they can with their peripheral vision. William Lothar once again gets some air on that 47 machine. Still falling behind Kenneth McCullough Jr. All these guys running almost identical lap times. Almost identical top speeds. And it's going to be a game of fuel strategy. Who's going to initiate and come in first? Will anybody follow? Or they leave the one man out there by himself? 46 laps have been clicked off so far in about 28 laps left to go. The one thing is almost certain is that they will have to come in for fuel once more. Look at Lothar giving a big shove to Kenneth McCullough Jr. midway through the corner. They link up bumpers. William Lothar's ready to start getting this party started. Jesse Bobo has come into pit lane all by himself on lap 47. Bobo had found himself away from the lead pack. Wasn't able to stay with the draft at all. So he's going to go for a bit of an undercut, kind of his hope and prayer here, see if he can take fuel and tires now. May be able to stay out there till the end and regain some positions as the rest of the field comes in. But look at Kenneth McCullough Jr. all over the back of Matthew Lee, our current race leader Lee with the 04 machine. Getting a bit of a shove from the number 1 car of McCullough. These guys are ready to start wicking up the pace just a little bit. 26 laps remaining. And none of these drivers showing any sign of slowing down anytime soon. Lee, McCullough, Lothar, our top 3 all running within 1/10 of each other. Less than that most of the time. Usually we get down to hundreds. Less than a second that separates our top 7. So Lee's out front. McCullough 2nd, Lothar 3rd, Curry 4th, Medina 5th, Burgess 6th, Chad Ross 7th. And then you've got James Kaufman finds himself about 2 or more positions back from the pack. And now Kaufman's going to come into pit lane as well for an undercut. I don't think you're going to see the lead pack coming in anytime soon. They are slowly whittling away drivers behind them. I'm excited to see what the strategy is going to be once they all start coming to pit lane. Are we going to see one big pack of drivers come in, or possibly 2 different groups form up and see what's going to happen? Or you may have 2 groups trying to work together towards the end, or these drivers can kind of universally agree saying, hey, if we come in all together, then we'll get the 2 lines formed up and try and get up to the front, no holds bars. James Kaufman coming out of pit lane. Still single file out front. A couple of guys have taken a couple peeks, seeing if anything develops, but for the most part, no. Now look at this. The field's getting a little bit stretched out here between 2nd place and 3rd place. That's Lothar in the 3rd, and then behind Lothar, Curry, also a bit of a gap. So what that means to me as somebody who's watched a lot of these is once they start getting a little bit of random spread out, it's very likely it's not from not being able to carry speed. It's more likely thinking about pit strategy, and they find themselves not holding it wide just as much. So let's see if that is a tell for Matthew Curry and William Lothar, who did back off the pace just a little bit. 26 laps to go. We're about to click off lap 50 as they cross the line. So now you're going to start seeing that the final fuel window open up for these drivers. They've gone about 15 laps, 16 laps on this fuel. We know fuel window's been about 21 to 23 laps before they have to come in. So I'm not sure if we're going to see guys come in early or try and hold it all the way out as long as they possibly can. As Matthew Lee doing a great job, clicking them off, running very, very clean. And Kenneth McCullough Jr., you got to talk about McCullough Jr. He's only up 1 spot from qualifying. But again, this is the highest position he could finish in so far this season. So McCullough Jr., the fact that he's in 2nd is extremely impressive, and the fact that he has the opportunity to battle for the lead is absolutely amazing. So we're all rooting for Kenneth McCullough Jr. from home as well. He may have what it takes to build the tied to most winningest driver in the series so far, Matthew Lee. 24 laps to go. Lap traffic is up front. I believe that's Kaufman. Where is he going? There he is. Gets out of the way in the nick of time. James Kaufman run the high line, allowing this pack to quickly get around him safely. Kaufman will go 1 lap down and then fall in line to drop in single file. Let's see what happens. Matthew Lee still leading out front. Kenneth McCullough Jr. glued to the back of the 04 machine. Lothar still having internet problems in third place. That's going to slow down Matthew Curry running in fourth just a little bit, having to check up the line. Looks like Lothar got off the gas a little bit. But right now, 22 to go. Not quite sure how the pit cycle is going to break down. They're about to click off lap or start lap 54 as we see a few drivers starting to come in. That's going to shake things up. It's Jose Medina, Matthew Curry, Chad Ross, Joseph Burgess. That four-pack of drivers all coming in. So that four-pack, hypothetically, if they all leave together, they should be able to run faster than the three-pack up front. But when are we going to see Matthew Lee, Kenneth McCullough Jr., and William Lothar come in? Will we see the lead pack come in this time by? Everybody on that cycle did not take 4 tires. Again, just taking maybe 2 tires and fuel. As it looks like our top 3 is going to stay out once more. Click off a couple more laps. Try and get the biggest gap they possibly can. And it seems to be that it is working as they are still putting time on 4th place Matthew Curry, 5th Joseph Burgess, 6th Chad Ross, and 7th Jose Medina. So these 3 drivers running single file doing a great job staying linked up. How long are they going to stay out for? Right now, all these guys still holding it wide open. They've extended the gap to 4th place to 40 seconds. We know a total pit lane delta can be about 34 to 40 seconds. So hypothetically, if they can get a little bit more of a gap, they can still safely come in, pit, and then go back out in front of the pack. I look like Curry has slowed down just a little bit to link up with Joseph Burgess, Chad Ross, and Medina. And now, I'll be honest, the top 3 still gaining time on these guys. They have a 41.7 second gap to 4th place. These guys are doing a fantastic job running it hard and clean. 42 second gap now to 4th place. If they can get it to 45 seconds or so, they're looking very, very good to be able to come in and out of pit lane without losing any positions. 18 laps to go. I'm willing to bet they'll give it a few more laps and then come in, as they've gone about 23 laps on a tank of fuel. So any minute now, I believe we're going to see the lead pack come in as they burn off all the fuel. And it looks like their advancement has stalled out over 4th place. Matthew Curry starting to link together with that 4-pack of drivers. Now, if Matthew Curry starts gaining time on the top 3, I'm willing to bet you will definitely see them come in. What is going on here? William Lothar comes in. Matthew Lee and Kenneth McCullough Jr. stay out. So Lothar is going to leave pit lane, possibly with that second pack of Curry, Burgess, Ross, and Medina. If not right in front of the pack. And it looks like Lothar is going to take 4 tires. Oh, this isn't good. I believe Lothar has received a pit lane penalty for excessive speeding. He's got a very, very long pit time so far. He's going to find himself moving down the field rapidly. He finds himself going from 3rd place to 7th place. Lothar, oh, Lothar, our favorite fast Canadian of 47, working his way to the back. But look, now here comes Matthew Curry, Joseph Burgess, Chad Ross, Jose Medina. So I believe Lothar's going to find himself a lap down here as a freight train of cars working together. That's the 4-pack of Curry, Burgess, Rose, Medina, all working together, single file, trying to catch up to Matthew Lee, Kenneth McCullough Jr. Now, Matthew Lee and Kenneth McCullough Jr. are finding themselves only with a 2-pack right now. So if this pack of 4 can keep working together, they should have the momentum to quickly get by Lee and McCullough. Let's see, the gap is closing. It's 30 seconds and dropping fast as our current race leaders are trying to make their way out of pit line with a quickness. They should link up on the back stretch here. Oh, things are really shaking up with 16 laps to go. At the top of your screen, you see Matthew Lee, Kenneth McCullough Jr. They're running right together. And here comes the 4-pack of Curry, Burgess, Ross, Medina. Lothar, I believe he's in the mix now, or relatively close to it. I take it back. Lothar finds himself about 40 seconds behind from 3rd place Matthew Curry. So Curry and friends have to make up about a 6.5 second gap to try and catch Matthew Lee and Ken McCullough Jr. Those guys should be working single file as well, but with only 2 cars, not able to get the momentum going as strong as this 4-car pack. 15 laps to go. I can't wait to see the times come across the live timing and scoring screen to get you an update. Let's see that last time by. I'm still waiting for live timing to update for Matt Lee and Kenneth McCullough Jr. So Matthew Lee clicked off a 49.19. Matthew Curry a 48.78. So that's about 0.7 seconds a lap difference. And they've got 14 laps to go. So that means they should be able to make up quickly time to Kenneth McCullough Jr. and Matthew Lee if they stay single file and have momentum left over. But once they do, it's anybody's guess what's going to happen. They should be catching the lead pack of Matthew Lee and Kenneth McCullough Jr. with about 6 laps to go. I am excited. This has the potential to really, really shake itself up here. Let's take a look out front, get you a development on Kenneth McCullough Jr. and Matthew Lee running as tight as they possibly dare, trying to link up and get something going, try and get some speed as a fleet of drivers coming up behind them. Matthew Curry and the guys, they're doing a pretty fantastic job staying single file. They know if we're going to get up there and battle for the lead, we've all got to work together in this 4-car pack. Every time they get out of line and try and make a position, it's going to slow down the momentum. So Matthew Lee still out front. Kenneth McCullough Jr. second. Matthew Curry in third. But behind Curry, you've got Burgess, Ross, Medina, all driving in a pack, trying to push their way up to the front. See if they can battle for that podium spot. And then if we're going to see the big one at Talladega, it's going to be at that 6 or 5 laps to go mark once this second pack is able to catch up to Kenneth McCullough Jr. and Matthew Lee that are running 2 and 1 right now. Now, it looks to me like the pace of this second pack may have stalled just a little bit. They're about a quarter of a second faster than the lead pack, but Kenneth McCullough Jr. and Matthew Lee still have close to a 5-second gap over these drivers. I'm thinking there's going to be a little bit of a mix-up here. I don't think that these guys are currently having the pace to get all the way up front. I'm not quite sure what's happening. Very intriguing. Let's see. Matthew Lee and Kenneth McCall Jr. both did about 50-second flat lap times compared to Matthew Curry's 49.74. So about 0.25 seconds a lap slower than the second pack, but still maintaining a 4.5 second gap. I'm showing on my calculator here that they're not going to have enough time to make something happen unless if Matthew Curry's not going to have enough time to make something happen unless they figure something out with the quickness. Now that last lap, Matthew Lee and Ken McCullough Jr. did run a little bit slower than they have in the past. But with 10 laps to go, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen here. Chad Ross, Medina, Curry, all teammates trying to work together to get up there to the front. Kevin McCullough Jr. and Matt Lee, also teammates, trying to make something happen. Still not entirely sure what's going to happen here. Kevin McCullough Jr. still holds a 3.9 second gap over third place Matthew Curry. It's 9 laps to go, but I believe the second pack has found a little bit of speed here. They're about 0.6 seconds faster that last lap. You see at the top of your screen, Matthew Lee, Kevin McCullough Jr. diving into turn 3, and here comes the swarm of Curry, Burgess, Ross, Medina, trying to make something happen, linking up, trying to push as hard as they possibly can. Let's see what the live timing says as they cross this next time by. Still, this second pack is about a half-second lap. Now a half-second a lap faster than the lead pack. But still, it's going to be close. My math shows they have about 7 laps until they catch the lead pack at this current rate of speed. So, it's going to be a nail-biter here. Can this second pack, led by Curry, catch up to Matthew Lee and Kenneth McCullough Jr.? Or will Matthew Lee and Kenneth McCullough Jr. be able to stretch it out front? If you see these drivers that all get a little bit aggressive and try and battle for third, they completely get rid of their chance to battle for the top 3 spots. Burgess, Ross, Medina, they have third place right in front of them. But if they continue working hard together, they can push up to the lead pack and try and make a big, big run. There you go. Any minute now, Curry is going to be able to catch the draft of Ken McCullough Jr. and Matthew Lee. 2.3 seconds separates second and third, and it is closing. 7 laps to go. Here comes Matthew Curry leading the hard charge. The gap's down to 2.10 seconds. It's closing. Here they go. The guys are picking up pace in the second row. 0.7 of a lap faster than the first 2 cars. It is less than a 2-second gap between second place McCullough, third place Matthew Curry. Matthew Lee knows that pack is coming. He's got to hammer down 6 laps to go. If they are able to catch up, you're about to see some of the world's wildest blocking and bump drafting. 1.75 seconds in closing separates second and third. Curry, a heck of a charge here, has definitely caught the draft of the lead pack. It is down to 1.5 seconds. It'll be 5 to go at the line. Do they have enough time to reel in Matthew Lee, Kenneth McCullough Jr.? They are running single file, trying to work that draft as hard as they possibly can, get those bumpers linked up and make something happen. 1.25 seconds now separating second and third. These guys about 0.6 seconds, 0.7 seconds faster a lap than the lead pack. They've got them in range. They're going to wind it up and get ready to send it. Less than a second gap. Curry charging hard, trying to get the draft in front of him. Here comes a freight train of 4 cars. It's going to be 5 laps to go, 4 once they cross the line. Matthew Lee, Kenneth McCullough Jr. Lee's going to try and lead McCullough on the high side. Expect Lee to throw one nasty block, as by the time they make it into turn 1, that second pack is going to be joining the front pack, battling for the lead. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. You're on the edge of your seats, and so am I. Matthew Curry pushing hard in the 51, trying to catch McCullough Jr. Here comes Curry trying to catch. They're going to get 2 lines working. McCullough throws a bit of a block. Matthew Lee keeps it out front. Here comes the high line working hard. Matthew Curry, Joseph Burgess, Chad Ross, Jose Medina trying to make something happen. Kenneth McCullough Jr. is going to get stuck in the line. Look at Matthew Lee, throws an aggressive block, and Chad Ross crashing behind. Jose Medina also involved. Oh, it's carnage on the racetrack. Matthew Curry keeps it together. Matthew Lee involved. Chad Ross out of the race. Kenneth McCullough Jr. currently showing up front. Can he throw a block on Matthew Curry this late? McCullough Jr. has not been scoring better than 3rd place this season. It's going to be a 3-way battle for the lead. Curry takes the lead. McCullough on the high line. Here comes Joseph Burgess in tow. McCullough Jr. is going to try and pinch him off. Let him know, hey, I'm still in it up here. Excuse me, I'm running out of breath. Too much action. Curry still on the high line. McCullough on the low line. McCullough on the high line. Joseph Burgess is going to give a bit of a shove to his friend Matthew Curry as they go side by side down the back stretch. McCullough's going to get shuffled back into 3rd place. Can he pinch it in and use the draft? It's going to be 2 to go once they cross the line. Anything can happen at this point. It has been a spectacular race that nobody saw coming. One thing's for sure, Matthew Lee will not be regaining his win streak here tonight. It will be a newcomer here at the FEG PC Cup Series, bringing home their first win of this season, as Matthew Curry still out front charging hard. McCullough Jr. makes the pass on Burgess on the outside, throws a block, drops in line, 2 laps to go. No one wants to be out front on the final lap, so let's see what happens here. Does Curry make it easy for McCullough to come around? Or is McCullough going to give a bit of a shove to the 51 and force him to go faster? Curry out front, McCullough second, Joseph Burgess third. Burgess seems to fall back a little bit, maybe getting ready for a bit of the old shake and bake slingshot in the oven. But Matthew Curry, Kenneth McCullough Jr. have got a pretty substantial gap, up to about 1 second over 3rd place, number 19, Joseph Burgess. It's about to be white flag here at Talladega. Here comes Matthew Curry driving hard up front. Kenneth McCullough Jr. in second, right on the bumper of the 51. White flag is out. Who's it going to be at Talladega for their first win of the season? Will it be Curry in the number 51, Kenneth McCullough Jr. and the number 1 machine? Or Joseph Burgess and the number 19? Burgess is pretty far back. He's got to make something happen to get up there and try and make it work. Matthew Curry, Kenneth McCullough Jr. side by side down the back stretch. Checkered flag will be out. Who's it going to be? I'm not sure if McCullough Jr. is going to have the side draft working here. Matthew Curry retakes the position. McCullough Jr. on the high line, Curry on the low line. It's a drag race to the finish. Who's it going to be? Kenneth McCullough Jr. looks like he's got it. Can he get his career first win? What's going to happen here? I don't know. Who's out front? Oh, they bump. They touch. They're getting unsettled. Everybody's going fast. It's going to be Matthew Curry with his first win. Kenneth McCullough Jr. second. Joseph Burgess bringing in 3rd place tonight for a fantastic finish of the FEG PC Cup Series doubleheader here at Talladega Superspeedway. We're going to try and get these drivers up here into the podium room for their interviews, but I've got to hand it to them. A spectacular finish that I don't believe anybody saw coming. That was a spectacular run, good clean racing for all of our drivers out there. All right, we're going to try and get our drivers up here into the podium room. give your broadcaster a chance to breathe. Matthew Curry with a well-deserved victory. Burnout into 51, bringing home his first win of the season. A spectacular job by all of our drivers. That was some of the best racing I've had the pleasure of calling here on the iRacing of series out here. Again, thank you to FEGPC.net for putting on this race, allowing these competitors to show what it takes to win at Talladega, and allowing me the opportunity to make a lot of words coming out of my mouth in the closing laps. We're going to try and get Joseph Burgess up here into the waiting room. We've got Kenneth McCullough Jr. ready as Matthew Curry uses up all of the motor and blows up the number 51. A spectacular job from all of our drivers tonight. I can't stress enough, probably one of the best races I've called there at the end. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope everyone at home did as well. We've got Matt Curry. We've got Kenneth McCullough Jr. on standby. See if we can get Joseph Burgess up here. I don't believe Burgess is going to be able to make it into the booth, so let's take second place. Kenneth McCullough Jr., your highest finish so far in the series, my friend. You've got to be ecstatic.
Man, I wanted that win bad. I felt it.
A lot of great driving. I don't call it aggressive driving, but very firm driving from all of our field. Shame to see some fast drivers get taken out there at the end, but allowed some newcomers to come up and make it happen. It was one of the best finishes I've ever had the pleasure of calling in any series on the iRacing service. So well done to you, Kenneth. What was going through your thoughts as you and Matt Curry were banging doors coming around the tri-oval?
I was trying to keep it clean as possible there and try to drag racing to the line. He bumped into me a couple times there. Kind of killed me right in the center of the corner there. But, man, that was a good race. If you're going to have one finish, that's the way you want it to finish.
Yeah, well done to all of our competitors, especially you, Kenneth, bringing home your highest position so far tonight. Before I let you go, my friend, and enjoy the champagne, who would you like to thank that's listening out there tonight?
Doing a hell of a job, man. I'd like to thank Jeff for putting this thing on. He does a wonderful job himself.
Well, thank you, Kenneth. We hope to see you up on the podium next week in New Hampshire.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
Up next, the man of the hour, Matthew Curry in the 51, bringing it home at the line with your first win of the season. That has got to feel absolutely fantastic tonight.
Yes, it does, James. It's awesome. It's great.
Matthew, what was going through your head on those final laps? You saw some of the lead cars get crashed out, kind of the fan favorites on who was going to win it tonight. At what point did you realize, oh no, I've got a chance of winning this?
Yeah, there at the end, when there was the incident, when Lee came up high and I was just able to hang on to it. And I think it was just me, Burgess, and McCullough. I knew I had a shot then. And Burgess was actually, I was in Discord with him. He's on our team and knew his car was had a little bit of damage. So I knew it was down to me and McCullough. I was trying to keep it as clean as possible. I think coming out of the turn there, I drifted up a little bit into him, and we kind of banged it out coming through the tri-oval. But it was a great race, and I really appreciate everything that gets put on here by Jeff and the rest of the guys, and appreciate all the help from my team.
Well, you kind of covered the sponsor stuff already, but Matt, who all is on that team that you'd like to thank out there before let's just sign off and celebrate tonight?
Tonight, I'd like to thank Chad Ross, Jose Medina, Joseph Burgess, but my most important team's my family, my wife, Jessica, my 3 kids, Finley, Lennon, and Bear. They're my greatest supporters and my greatest fans, and wouldn't be doing this without them, their support.
Well, Matthew, welcome to the podium for the winner's circle for the first time this season. We hope to see you up here more often. That was a spectacular run, and you guys deserve all the awards after a spectacular race here tonight, my friend.
You, James. Appreciate everything you've been doing for this league as well.
Yes, sir. Absolute pleasure. That's going to wrap us up here at the FEG PC Cup Series Wednesday doubleheader. We are at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We are at Talladega. Great racing across the board here today. As always, I'm James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting you, bringing the action 1080p 60 frames a second on behalf of FEGPC.net. I'd like to wish you all a happy evening. Be safe. Enjoy your drive home, and we'll see you next week.